Hi, everyone, and welcome to my channel. I am Coach Sherri, and this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. So, as you can see from the title, Celebrating My Mother and Conference Day One Recap. I'm actually at a conference and I am exhausted. Oh my goodness. Today has been jammed packed. I got here this morning and there was just so many great people that I hadn't seen in a while. This conference is it happens once a year, and it's nation. It's statewide. I've been going to this conference ever since it started, and I was part of the panel. So I was on two panels today where I did one was a presentation and questions and answers, and then the other was some set questions that they had, and then questions from the audience. But I am exhausted. The conference is well attended, great professionals. Some people are novice to what it is that I do and what we do. And some people are seasoned and just doing some great networking. We walked, this is a great city. I can't wait to tell you where I'm at after I'm back home, but it's a great city. I visited it once before when my children were younger. They had a school trip here, and we walked to a barbecue kind of place, and the conference had a big networking event where they had pulled barbecue beef and pork and desserts, mac and cheese, just a southern hometown kind of thing. And it was, buffet style. It was good, delicious actually. And I'm glad that I did walk to it because definitely needed to walk back. I see Mrs. Newton's big family, big noises in the building. Congratulations on your new home. Joshua Gabriel, welcome in, everyone. It's great to see everyone is saying hello. Thank you so much for being here. And yes, this networking event, and it's all different types of people. It's business owners, it's people in education, it's people in local government, just all different types of individuals. And it's a very mixed crowd, a mixed group, and everyone is just really there to glean and learn and take some great information back to their companies, businesses, schools, and what have you. So, yeah, and the walk was so good. I walked about 10,000 steps today. Just getting all situated and then just back and forth on that stage. Let me tell you, never underestimate what you can do. And I just remember, you know, when I was doing a teaching fellowship and the program manager towards the end, it was a 2-year opportunity. And he said, they always ask periodically, I should say, what do you want to do after the fellowship is over? And I would always say, I want to be on a stage speaking. And they would say, on the stage speaking, what are you going to talk about? I said, I don't know, but that's what I want to do. And it really didn't dawn on me the reality of it until I want to say it was last year. And I was speaking to about 1,000 students for this program, preparing them for the workforce. And I looked out and I noticed, like I had the microphone in my hand and I said, this is what I always said I wanted to do. Now, that was not the first time I had been on a stage and talking or anything, but just to know that it happens with greater frequency. And that is absolutely something that I've always prepared to do, what I expected to do. And what I'm talking about is my reality, it's my truth. I love it. It's what I do, and it's a good thing. And then also I just really enjoy when people come up afterwards and ask more specific questions, and it's my pleasure to share with them, information that's going to help them wherever they're at as well. You get stage fright. Listen, when they have that microphone, I don't. I love it so much. I'm always mic checking, and it's hilarious actually. And I just I don't know. I've learned when I do presentations and do panels and stuff, I don't try to sound like anybody else. You know, a lot of people, they sound very rehearsed and scripted. And I just go off the top, off the grill, you know, just I keep it real with them, provide examples, clear cut examples. One of my former apprentices shared the panel with me this evening too, and his story is so dynamic. I'm so proud of him and his career journey. It's just, I don't know, it was just really good. I love it too. Mrs. Newton's Big Family, Big Noise, definitely. Um, and you know what? And everyone has a position on a team. So we need people that's going to help set things up, coordinate. I like to say coordinate. You know, people that are going to coordinate everything. Everyone has a purpose. So it doesn't always have to be the one in the front that makes it all happen. It's always the ones that's putting it all together. And that's what I tell people too. You know, a lot of times people see the party, but they don't understand the planning and the people it takes to plan something. So if you are that background person, listen, kudos to you and thank you because everyone is needed on the team for sure. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Yes. I know quite a few people that love that too. Yes, you are a party planner. See, party planners make it all possible. You know, if it wasn't for you, it wouldn't turn out to be such a fabulous, wonderful event. So, yes, party planners are the ones that pulls it all together. I always like to be part of the planning, but I do know my lane, and I don't try to cross over into other people's lanes. You know, let everyone play their position well, for sure. But so today was a great day. I'm here for 2 more days. This hotel is beautiful. I really appreciate it looks like they've upgraded it. I didn't come to it before, but I'm always, when I go to a hotel, I'm looking like, how did you spend those PP dollars, you know, PPP funds? And I can tell, you know, they have the barn doors for the bathroom and the closet to save that space so the doors aren't opening in. They have wood on the floor. Well, it's actually that linoleum wood like. It's just decorated, very minimalist, but perfect. It's perfect. I love it. It's clean, which is most important. Yes, definitely clean. Let's see. You believe that your purpose has to be a supporter. Yeah, you know, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's, we all need a supporter in our corners. You know, the supporters, the ones that keep the people out front going. They're the ones that are motivating and inspiring, the ones that got your back, looking around, observant. You know, you need all of that. Definitely. And so today, you know, I was glad that I had the conference to kind of keep my mind occupied. Today is my mother's birthday, and it's her heavenly birthday. And I think about my mother often, especially when I'm doing things that are like front facing with the community or with people or on stage. My mother definitely was a presenter, had no fear of speaking or singing in front of large crowds. She was always well received. She always had a powerful message to share. And, you know, just thinking about her and her life and how I really feel like she really had so much more life to live, you know? And I feel like she knew that too. But God had other plans and he needed her to come home and to, you know, watch over us from above because, you know, he took her home and I don't know. For some reason, tonight, you know, after I came back from the networking event and everything, I'm so tired walking up and down the street, you know, to get to the place and everything. Luckily, the conference center is right across from the hotel, so it's like right there. But to get to that restaurant this evening, it was a pretty lengthy walk, let's say. I see Slasher Chick is in the building and she did her live tonight. Slasher Chick, if you don't know Mrs. Newton's Big Family, Big Noise or vice versa, I really encourage you both to check each other out. Definitely, please, you know, be sure to come to network as Mrs. Newton's is saying, you know, what I was talking about earlier. Definitely. What did I eat? I ate everything. Today they had so much food. I missed breakfast, but let me see, for lunch. So when I know that I'm going to present, I typically eat lighter. I don't eat carbs or bread, which is a carb, but I don't eat carbs or desserts when I'm going to present because I want to make sure my vocals and everything are clear. So for lunch, they had pork loin, they had salad, they had, and I'm not telling you everything I ate, but this is all the things they had. They had vegetable lasagna. They had mixed vegetables. Um, they had grits. But when I saw the grits, I was like, but where's the shrimp or some fried fish or something? But they just had grits and the grits looked good, but I didn't eat them because, again, they were a carb and I didn't want to go there with that. They had some really good looking rolls. They had a variety of desserts. They had some parfaits, some kind of like a brulee with fruit, some chocolate fudge cake pie type of thing. Um, Plenty of drinks, teas, waters, and things like that. And then they had a snack in between the, sessions, and they had, huge fruit platters with the biggest blackberries and strawberries I had ever seen, delicious pineapples and melons and things like that. And they had some lemon bars, some chocolate chip, um, sugar cookies, oatmeal cookies, and let me see what else. And different sodas like Mountain Dew. I think they were like, everybody got to try to stay up, but I didn't drink the Mountain Dew. All I do is drink water. I'd rather eat my calories than drink them. And then so for dinner, again, we were at the brisket, like the barbecue place, and I had everything. That mac and cheese was amazing. But I had mac and cheese, I had pork, um, pulled pork, I had brisket, some salad. I had peach cobbler. They had a banana pudding, but I didn't have it. Listen, if the banana pudding doesn't have chessman cookies, I'm not really feeling it. But they said it was really good. So it was good. Yeah, it was good. I'm glad you asked the question. Let me see. I must have missed it. Um, oh, what did you eat? Yeah. um, yeah, thank you. Please, both of you support one another, check each other out. This is some good people in here. Um, and I don't know what I'm gonna have tomorrow. All I know is they fed us so much today. And I've been going to this conference for years. I've been going to this conference for about 6 years now. And this one day, to me, it feels like they fed us more today than they had in all the other conferences, like all across all the days that each conference had. I just feel like we just had so much food. It was well attended. I was really pleased with the attendance, seeing some old people, some new people, meeting people. I have some really good programs, so lots of people were coming up and asking me about them and wanting to collaborate to just glean some additional nuggets. So, I was about to, yeah, where's the shrimp? That's what I said. How are you gonna have where have you seen grits served at lunch without shrimp? Where? What does that even go with? I mean, they had vegetable lasagna, they had pork loin. How does that fit with grits? I'm not understanding. Yes. But the grits did look good. They looked well cooked. Yes. That lemon. Ooh, that lemon bar, and it was like a pie kind of, but it wasn't a pie, it was a square bar. Mm, it was, I could taste the real lemon squeezed in it, it was delicious. They know how to throw an event for sure. Hmm. If you are on a keto diet or anything like that, oh, you were straight today. Hey, TC HBCU Queen TV, how are you? Listen, they had a whole session on at the conference I'm at on HBCUs and how to recruit and develop programs for students at HBCUs. And I had to hold myself back from saying too much. I didn't say anything because I was actually up next with my panel. but it was really good. And there was a woman, her first name is Joy. I can't recall her last name, but I did speak with her afterwards, and I'm going to, hopefully she'll be here still. She should be here still tomorrow, because she actually is from Austin, Texas, I think. And she does something. I have to find out exactly what she does. And even if I don't catch up with her tomorrow, I know that the organizers, and I'm cool with them, will have her information so that I can connect with her. But I was going to tell her about that director position in Philly. I like her, the way she is, her background, everything. I think she would be perfect for it. I do. I'm actually going to tell my one of my line sisters about it also. Um, Gifts I haven't had in forever. Oh, let me see. So again, today is my mother's birthday, her heavenly birthday. And when I was caring for her, so my mother had been diagnosed after so many different misdiagnoses and us trying to figure out what was really going on with her. She was finally diagnosed with ALS, which is Lou Gehrig's disease. And ALS is an acronym, and it stands for like amyotrophic myopathy something. I can't remember the whole what it stands for, but it is a disease that there's no cause for it, there's no cure for it, and basically your body dies. Like every part of your body just starts to die, but your brain stays good. That's the thing. And it's like for me, seeing it and caring for her, that's one of the most awful things. There's literally nothing that you can do to stop it. And while I was caring for her, I wrote a blog. And so she was diagnosed in 2008, and I was actually with her because I was back and forth from North Carolina to Virginia to take her to the doctors. They thought she had something with her thyroids. They were misdiagnosing her. They gave her a knee replacement, like all kinds of things before it was finally fully diagnosed. And how it was diagnosed was she had her knee replaced. And now my mother had the most beautiful singing voice. She had a voice like Mahalia Jackson. She absolutely could have sung professionally, but she wanted to, be with her family and be home. And, back then, especially, they was on the road like all the time. But she was that singer that people would have her sing at their anniversaries, weddings, funerals. She was that singer that when she got up, when it was Sunday and she was in the choir, and when she got up and was making her way to the microphone, oh yeah, people was falling out because they knew they was, even before she could sing a word, they was just starting to scream. Like that's the kind of singer she was. And then I want to say when she got to be about maybe like in her 50s or so, her voice started to get really weak and she couldn't hit those notes anymore. And she really didn't think anything of it. It was just kind of like, no, I can't sing anymore like that, like I used to. She would still sing, but she just really couldn't hold those notes like she used to. And then she started to fall. And when I tell you her falls, we can trip, you know, but her falls, I mean, it looked like a toddler. You know how a toddler that is learning how to walk and when they fall, they don't catch themselves? That's how her falls were. They were just like unbelievable because you don't see grown people falling like that. And I used to be like, Mom, what's wrong with you? Like, why would you fall like that? It almost looked like it was on purpose. Like, what in the world is going on? And then I just remember we went to this lake and they had these natural stairs that went down to the sand area from the parking lot. And on the way back up to the vehicle, I remember and it was a natural stair, so they weren't steep stairs. They were very short stairs, but it was really hard for her to get her foot over the step. Like she actually tripped on it. Like I was holding on to her so she didn't fall, but it was just like, wow, like I'm looking at her feet trying to clear the step and it was really challenging for her. And so so she went back to her doctor when she got her knee replaced, and she went back for like her follow-up appointment or whatever. And my mother was a talker. I promise you, she's the first original career coach I've ever experienced. Everybody came to her for advice. She always had sound advice, always very positive, just a great woman, period. Just great all the time. Never raised her voice, not even at me. Just a good person, and I try my hardest. I try my hardest to be good like her. I have so much grace for my kids, especially my daughters, when they are in need of something. Because my mother, whenever I needed something, she was right there. So I'm always like, no matter what I'm doing, my son, he hadn't needed anything since he was 13, but trust and believe, if he needs something, I'm gonna be right there. But I know for my daughters in particular, girls just need things. I'm not mad at it. I'm like, all right, what is it? Because I just know how my mother always made me feel like she had me, no matter what, she got me. And I just want my children to always know that. And I know for a fact, my husband got them. So I just try to keep that same posture for sure. But we went to the orthopedic surgeon, and he was looking at my mother, and then she was talking to him because she talks to everybody or talked to everybody. And he said, he was looking at her like, and he said, "You sound a lot different. Something about, like, I don't know what it was, but it's something about her and the way she sounded for sure." Because he said that made him pause. And he said, "You know what? I want you to go and see a neurologist. Yeah, I want you to go see a neurologist." And all we wanted was a clear diagnosis, one way or the other. So we was like, cool. What's the where? And it so happened to be in a hospital. We were at VCU in Richmond, and he said, "I have a really good friend that is a neurologist." Let me see. Did he want her to see a neurologist or I think a neurosurgeon. And so we was like, all right. And he called the guy. Like, we're in the hospital. Y'all know how hard it is to get an appointment with a specialist. And the neurosurgeon was like, okay, like, I can bring like, tell her to come up. I'm on whatever floor, like, come on. And so he was like, all right, he said, "You can come right now." So we was like, okay, cool. And we went to the neurosurgeon, and he said, "I don't think you need to see me. I think you need to see a neurologist." And he said, "But I don't know, like, the one that we have, he's always busy. He's this, that, and the other." And I don't know how we started talking about it. I have to remember I have my contacts in. Um, I don't know how he started talking about it, but he was like, no, we were talking about football for some reason. And I said, "Yeah, and at that time my husband was retired. So I was like, yeah, he played for this team, that team." And when I said the Giants, and I don't know what the connection was with the Giants and the doctor, but they got us in that day to see the neurologist, and off of the strength of that. And so we went in to see the neurologist again that day. So now we're at three doctors, and the neurologist did some kind of like baseline examination on my mother. And he was like, "I don't want to give you a clear diagnosis yet. There's some additional tests that need to be done before I can clearly say what it is. But from what I'm seeing, I think you might have ALS." And at the time, I never really heard of ALS in that way. I don't think my mother either. So we were like, all right, so what tests do we have to take? And he said, "I'm gonna have you come back and do whatever the test was." So we was like, okay, cool. And I had made up in my mind, I said, "I'm not gonna research it, I'm not gonna look it up, I'm not gonna claim it. I'm just gonna, see what's what," because I didn't want my mind to go crazy. So I was like, I'm just gonna see, what's going on. And I don't know, maybe like a week later, we had the appointment, and we went. And I remember I was in the room when my mother was getting tested, and they were testing like all her nerves. So they had her hooked up to this machine, like all different parts of her body, and they could literally hear her nerves. Like it sounded like a jet plane taking off or landing. It was so loud. And she used to always say how her legs would have spasms, and she just was like, yeah, my legs have spasms. She said that for years. She had been saying that. And she would take calcium, magnesium, thinking, like, I just need to take some calcium, magnesium, whatever. But it was so loud. So her and I were kind of joking around about it, like, gosh, your nerves are loud. And I want to say it was either that day or I don't know, it was soon after they confirmed that she had ALS. And so we were like, okay, so now what we have to do? What kind of treatment? Because we're thinking, as long as, all right, we got the name, we understand what it is. So now we can fight it. So what do we have to do? What's the first thing? And the doctor was looking at us like, there's nothing. We said, what? What you mean? He said, there's nothing. There's nothing you can do. And he was like, the noise that you heard was her nerves jumping and basically dying. And he was like, it's gonna get to a point where she won't be able to walk, she won't be able to drink, she won't be able to talk, she won't be able to eat, she won't be able to do anything. And I was like, well, how does she get better? He was like, she won't. So what does that mean? He was like, she's gonna eventually die from it. And so I was like, huh. So I remember we left, and I don't know, it was just, it was just weird because what do you mean? Like, so there's no vitamins we can take? You're not going to prescribe her no medicine? Like, nothing? Who could be knocking on my door right now? I'm in a hotel. They must have the wrong room. I'm not. Hold on for 1 second. I'm going to keep the sound on though. He talking about, did I call about the AC? No. Huh. Let me text my husband in case he have to come here. Hold on. All right. Wrong room. Yeah, I'm gonna call the front desk. Hold on. I'll be right back. I'm gonna keep y'all on. I'm telling you, people need to start writing stuff down because he was 10. I mean, it was similar. He was one room number or one number off, but he was about 10 numbers short. So he should have wrote that down. All right. um so at any rate, my mother's situation progressed, and that's so crazy that I was like, hold on, like I'm on the phone with y'all or something. um it progressed, and eventually she needed 24/7 care. She had could not breathe on her own. She had to be on a ventilator. They had to give her a feeding tube. But I'm gonna tell you, I did what I knew needed to be done. I'm not medically trained. I'm all business, but I learned during that time. I was her primary caregiver, and they tried to tell me like all she could do was eat from her feeding tube. She had a trachea in her neck. But let me tell y'all, I was able to puree her food, feed her food. I was able to give her coffee. I served it in her fine china. I was able to like still have her have a quality of life. Our motto was, as long as you have life, you are going to live. And so we still did things. I would take it to places like community centers when they would have like expos and things. When I had to pick up the kids, and she was there, she would just come with me. But it was just the most unbelievable experience. And in the midst of it, I had wrote a blog. Again, this was in um, it was 2008 when she was diagnosed. Let me think. And it was 2009 when my family and I stopped our world, literally, to care for her. And I didn't I didn't do it, here on YouTube, but I wrote a WordPress blog. Remember WordPress? And my blog is called ALS Caregiver. And I felt like it was just so therapeutic to write what was going on. I felt like it could possibly help someone. And literally, it has people from all over the world, literally, that either has ALS, has a loved one with ALS, had someone that they loved with ALS, have responded to many of my blog posts about the shared experiences or things that they would, could expect. Um, and just them talking out their fears with it. ALS, it affects people in so many different ways, and we definitely became advocates for it. My family became an ALS advocate and represented on behalf of my mother after she passed at the state level. I even took her up to the state capitol in Richmond, fighting for rights of, for better health care services. And at that time, it was about people that did not have health care. But my thing is, what if you have great health care and you still can't get the services that you qualify for? And that was our challenge. I would tell nurses, I'll pay you $100 a day to come. And they would not come because of her ventilator. It was the most bizarre thing. It felt like I was living in 1956 or something. It was awful, that part. So all I could do was do my best, even though we didn't get the medical support that we deserved. That did not make me care for her any less. It just made me continue to just care for her. And so I haven't visited my blog in a long time. I'm the type of person, even in business, when I write something out, like even if it's a business plan or if it's any kind of standard or document or anything, I never review it. I never revise it. I just do it and I leave it and I'm gone and I'm on to the next. And that's kind of how I have been with my blogs. I do have a channel. I mean, I do have a series of videos because I documented the last 6 days of my mother's life because it was just so vivid and I had to get it out. And it actually was beautiful. It was beautiful. Um, but that's really the only blog posts that I had revisited. And then today, just thinking about my mother, I said, let me see what was going on back in the day, and what kind of um, blog I would like to share with you all. And so today is April 16th, but the month of May is ALS month, Awareness Month. And I'm looking at this blog and it was posted on May 16th. And so I said, it's the 16th, different month, but still the 16th. And this one is called ALS Caregivers Blog Learn More About Caregiving. So if you don't mind, I'm going to read this blog to you. So I write, today is the 16th day of ALS Awareness Month. And this day is learn more about caregiving. And I know that there are a lot of people out there that are caregiving. They're caregivers for their parents, their loved ones, even their children, their spouses. Caregiving, it crosses the board. Some people, that's their profession, and they do that for people they've never met before, but that's their career. So caregiving is really something that needs to be recognized and respected for sure. This day is learn more about caregiving. Awesome, overwhelming, emotional, breathtaking, astonishing, and frightening are just a few words to describe what it is like to be a caregiver for someone living with ALS. Watching the Today Show this morning, they were doing a medical piece and they interviewed several people involved, including doctors, parents, salespeople, and manufacturers. I found it interesting when the manufacturer said that every situation was different and it would ultimately be up to the parents to make the decision on what would work best for their children. And the interviewer responded, how could the parents do such a thing and not the doctors? Because the doctors are experts. My response was, really? I respect doctors and will consider them experts in their fields when it comes to the science of it. But when it comes to caregiving, I view the caregiver as the expert. When you get home, close the door and look around and realize that you are it. And the person that you love dearly is looking at you for everything. You have to reach within and do some of the most remarkable things that you never thought you were capable of. Things that the doctors have no clue about. Things that scientists aren't aware of. Things that nurses get assistance with. You have to do solo as the caregiver. As the caregiver, you find yourself behind the Mack truck with the ALS patient you are caring for and trying to hold on to the rear bumper to keep it from sliding down the steep hill of life. Try as you may, you can't dig your heels deep enough. You can't pull back hard enough, but sometimes your foot gets in a groove that lets you catch your breath for a second and survey your surroundings to regroup and restock with items that are necessary to continue down the path. And that's what taking care of someone that lives with ALS feels like. Like you literally are trying to hold a Mack truck from rolling down a hill. It moves so fast sometimes, and you just don't have the strength to hold it back. Often the fear that people have of the unknown that ALS presents not only keeps them away from the person who is living with ALS, but it keeps them from the caregivers too. If it wasn't for my husband and kids living life all around me, I don't know what I would have done as my mother's primary caregiver. People ask, what can I do to help? It's such a rare question until you hesitate too long and your pause makes them think she needs nothing. So they move on to something else. What can I do to help is not even a real question to me anymore. It is just words that makes up a sentence with a question mark attached. It's not about what can you do. It's about doing what you can do. Here are some ideas that you can use to help a caregiver who is caring for someone living with ALS. Number 1, lend them your ear. Caregiving can be frustrating and frightening. Because there is no cause of cure, there is a lack of curiosity in the community. Give the caregiver an opportunity to vent, even if it is just for a moment. Preventing compassion burnout is important for the caregiver and the patient. Check in regularly. Number 2, go over and offer the caregiver an opportunity to take a nap. I found that many times my mother's symptoms were nocturnal. So after a long day of doing things with my family, and for my mother, I would find myself up throughout the night or sleeping lightly in case I had to give her more morphine, turn her on her side, take a blanket off, or put another one on. So some days I was completely exhausted, but had to continue moving forward. Number 3, prepare a meal. I can't even begin to say how much that would be appreciated and would have been appreciated. And listen, I am not a cook by any means. And there's never, like, my father's sister, she came, especially at the beginning of the school year, and I remember her cooking and making lasagna. But other than that, it was every man, woman, and child for themselves. I mean, I did the best I could, but it was a lot. So if you know a caregiver and they have a family, I'm telling you, cooking a meal for them would be just a godsend. Number 4, if they have kids, offer to take their kids out for a special treat or to a movie. I can't even begin to say how much that would be appreciated and would have been. I had a cousin that came, and I remember her taking my kids to Walmart. Now, my husband was able to take them places, but just to have that other adult like that is showing love for them is just a lot. Number 5, encourage them to participate in support groups and speak with other caregivers. It is very comforting to know you are not the only one going through a journey like ALS. Communicating with other caregivers is not only a form of emotional support, but also it is a great way to share information and best practices for caregiving. You are not alone. We were very active in the ALS Association DMV chapter. When my mother was alive, we would take her to the monthly meetings. She was able to see other people as well that lived with ALS. And I think I had started saying how the onset of symptoms affects people so differently. Y'all, it is the craziest thing. There were some men, and for some reason, for men, it affects their arms sometimes first. So it's like they could walk regular, but they can't move their arms. Their arms die. Um, and for a lot of women, it's their legs. They can move their arms, but they can't move their legs. It could be their voice. It could be, I know after my mother passed, there was a 19-year-old in the town that we were in. And when I heard about him, I found him as soon as I could. And I went to him and his mom, and he was 19 years old. And the only thing he could move was his eyelids. The only thing he could move, he could only blink. That's it. Everything else had died. The ALS Association has a great caregivers page. If you or someone you know is caring for an ALS patient, please refer to this link and pass it forward. And I have it hyperlinked in the blog. There's valuable information and tips provided. As a caregiver, it is important to achieve a new level of balance in your life. Even without assistance, it is important to not lose yourself in the process and do something that is important to you and for you whenever possible. There are ways to modify what was normal to you, such as a hobby or business. I learned the value of the internet and social media and how to use it to grow a business. Be creative and keep a piece of your identity. So when my mother, when I was her caregiver, I really couldn't leave her for no longer than 2 hours at a time. And even then, I had to have someone there. My dad, I had a cousin that didn't live too far. Um, but that's when I learned how to coach virtually. And I had clients all over the country, literally, women in particular. And I was able to do that. And I let them know, a little bit about what my situation was in case I had to cut a session short. I never had to, I always really made sure my mother was straight before I would do a session. And I only did a session like 1 hour at a time. And I typically would be in just the very next room for where my mother was. But that really gave me a opportunity to step off. Now, my kids were very active and I still was able to attend some of their activities, but that is for them. I'm there solely for them. But when I did the career coaching, it was something for me to do. And it really brought me joy. So I was grateful to have found that, because let me tell you, before my mother got really sick, things was popping. I was like just booked and busy doing some great things, and it my world stopped, and I just remember like her first night being home, and it felt like I didn't. None of my children were premature, but I just imagined what it probably would be like if you had a premature baby and you probably can't sleep at night. You're up all night looking, making sure they're straight. That's how I felt with her. And I just remember at some point walking, from one room to the next, and I looked up into the sky and I said, God, is this what you have for me? Is this what it is? And then that's when he gave me career coaching virtually. And I'm talking about, this is 2008, 2009. And I was doing it on WebEx back then. And if any of y'all know about virtual things and trainings, that's a pretty big deal, to have done something like that to that extent that way. So then this is the end where I say, just thank you for reading my blog. It was my honor and pleasure to serve as my mother's primary caregiver as she lived with ALS. It was not something that any of us ever anticipated, and it changed my life and my family's life as we knew it forever. But new beginnings continue to happen, and the lessons that were learned are the best lessons I've ever learned, and I will continue to build on them for the rest of my life. So that's it, y'all. Today is my mother's heavenly birthday. And I couldn't have asked for a better mother. Yep. And so let me see what y'all are saying. And Slasher Chick is saying, what vivid writing. Thanks so much for sharing. You're welcome. Yeah, I would just like throw it up. And listen, I was using my BlackBerry when I was writing that. Most of it, I was using my BlackBerry. And Slasher Chick is saying, doctors diagnose, nurses and caregivers heal. Yes. Yes. Yep. So that's it, y'all. Yes, caregivers need support. Yeah. Thank y'all for listening and for being here. I'm going to be at day 2 tomorrow for the conference. I'm going to take notes and see how I can implement some of the new things that I'm going to learn. I do want to incorporate a new type of program, and I want to see if I can glean some nuggets about it. Today is day 16 of my 60 days of going live every day. I'm trying to flood the YouTube streets with lives. The lives are going to happen every day, and I'm going to try and sprinkle in some pre-recorded videos, some shorts. Check out my community wall. I have taken some beautiful pictures of murals and artwork and such from the walk that I did today, going to the networking event. But, I'm going to have some things on the community wall as well. I'll have some playlists that are going to be posted on the community wall. If you have time, if you don't mind, to run those playlists and just check out some things that I used to talk about, places I've been, just whatever, get something out of it. If you just have moments, you just want some background noise or whatever, I'd appreciate that. But it's been my pleasure being here with you this evening. I am really feeling this going live every day. I might not even stop at the 60, who knows, but I'm leading up to my Sweet 16, which is going to be in June. So thank you. Thank you. Until we speak again, which will be tomorrow, remember to practice hard, practice every day. Listen, you are on an interview right now. You don't know who's watching. It's not who you see, but it's who they know. So definitely practice and do your very best each and every day. And when you truly get into that game and they pass you that ball, you will make that winning shot. It's been my pleasure. I am Coach Sherri.